Well, and the disappointment comes from when when the new H.D. Woodson opened, it was featured as a STEM
I hear you.
school.
Yes.
And it didn't
Nothing
take
happened.
place.
Yes, I know.
So, there was a mass exodus out of there for that reason. So, I mean, we have these state-of-the-arts, and I think someone mentioned it, state-of-the-art facilities, and they don't have what they need on the inside. I would hate to see $110 million go down the drain with the closing of H.D. Woodson because the programming isn't there, so everyone is leaving. And that's what we need to get some guarantees with the boundary issue, how it can be resolved. Because at one time, the majority of students did go to schools within their communities. They did go to schools within their boundary. And I would love to see it come back to that. And if you want to have the option to go somewhere else, then you can. But we need to really, with the boundary conversation, look at what we're doing to improve the schools. There's a reason why we're having this boundary conversation, in the first place. And that's because a lot of students are going out of boundary. So that's one reason that's one way to look at the boundary conversation. If you're worried about the neighborhood's students not being able to go to their neighborhood school, then make every neighborhood equal with the quality of education that's being offered at each school.
But Councilmember Alexander, there's another piece of this puzzle that we're not discussing, and that's the charter sector, right? There's no planning in terms of where charter schools are, right? In your ward, more than 50% of the school-age children go to charter schools. And so, in fact, we've got to pull all of this together and not just talk about, well, what DCPS needs to do. In fact, we as a community, as a city, said we want school choice. We want innovation. We want schools to be able to be autonomous and have stuff, right? And now we're like, oh gosh, and now our neighborhood schools are bad. Well, this is predictable, right? We should have known that if we started down a road to create a whole new set of schools that would be better than DCPS, then people would want to go to them. And so now we have the opportunity to say, these are all of our schools. How do we equalize the resources across the sectors, or how do we have the sectors working together so that kids get, and so sometimes, one of the things that I take my hat off to the charter sector on is they know how to do middle schools really well, right? And and so if we can't do middle schools well and they can do middle schools well, then let's figure out how we funnel kids through those middle schools and then bring some of those folks to H.D. Woodson if they have STEM middle schools or whatnot. We've got to be creative and get out of this, well, if we just do this for DCPS. We have a robust and dynamic education sector, and so we're going to, I think, citywide figure out how to make it work.
Right, I agree, because with the inception of charter schools, going back to the olden days when I was in school, we didn't have the charter schools. We did have out of boundary. The olden days.
Oh, the olden days.
Ms. Alexander, we'll have a second round. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. My time is up.